Hey there, I'm Adam from I Am Your Target Demographic, and today we're talking about Black Panther. I saw Black Panther last night. I had really high expectations. The Rotten Tomatoes score was really high. People seem to be loving it. So what are my 2 cents? Let me just start with saying I liked it a lot. I think it did an incredible amount of world building. I think it set up these characters that are going to be in play for a long time. I thought the villain was really great, but the movie is not perfect. And I think it's important that we still be critical, that we just don't blindly, this is the best Marvel movie because it means so much to a lot of people. I think we still need to look at this as a movie and see what its flaws and strengths are. So start with the good stuff. Chadwick Boseman is great. Everyone surrounding him is fantastic. I mean, the Dora Milaje are all great. Okoye she steals every scene that she's in. Lupita Nyong'o as Nakia, right? Is that right? Great. Her chemistry with Chadwick Boseman, great. The world of Wakanda is really the star of the show. The colors, the costumes, the world that they build is believable. It is tangible. It shows you what the world is like instead of just telling you. I think it does perfectly what they failed to do with Asgard, at least in the original Thor, that Wakanda feels lived in. It feels like we're just joining a story that is already happening, where Thor felt empty. Especially Thor 1 felt empty. So this world here is great. I think Andy Serkis as Claw, great, laughable, but I think on purpose. He is just like maniacal and a loose cannon, but does it perfectly. Michael B. Jordan, like I said, fantastic. He disappears for a long chunk of the movie, but I don't know what they could have done about that unless they changed around the structure of the story. Now, I'm going to start to get into the things that I didn't think worked great. The fight scenes were hit or miss. No pun intended. Some were great. The very first fight scene that we see with Killmonger, Michael B. Jordan, and Black Panther is stunning, fantastic, thrilling, edge of your seat. But then what is the quote-unquote climax of the movie, that final fight that we see unfold, and I'm not going to spoil too much, is really underwhelming. And so the movie ends with this whimper and a fight scene that is unimpressive in terms of choreography, and it looks entirely fake. The problem here is that when Black Panther and anyone else that is wearing a suit basically is completely CGI. And you can tell. You can tell in a way that you could not tell in Civil War. Black Panther in Civil War felt real when he's fighting with Bucky, and he is there and he has a force and a weight. Here, whenever they're in the suits, anyone is in a suit, they are out of a video game. And they're just spinning around in the air and doing things that are not humanly possible. I realized as I was saying that he is able to do things that humans aren't able to do, but it looks weird. And the final fight scene is just a CGI mess, and I didn't care about it. I found myself thinking back to other fight scenes, and I was like, that would have been a way to kick this off, or that would have been a way to end this. Like, I wanted to rearrange things. So yeah, the CGI was a little disappointing. There's also a large-scale fight scene that had some CGI elements that charge in and did not work for me. That the effects felt unfinished. There was some obvious green screen. Everything worked so great. To have that little thing mess it up is really unfortunate. But that is not enough to deter you from seeing this. The effects aren't always great, but the acting is fantastic. The world building is completely unique. This is a world that you wish existed. So for that, you need to see this. This is an incredible world. It's colorful. It's vibrant. It has strong, powerful women leads. It has people of color in leading roles and action roles that we don't traditionally see them in, and this is refreshing. This whole movie is refreshing. You need to see it, but it's not going to get a perfect score from me because there's some technical issues that held the movie back for me. And maybe you don't care, maybe you don't notice, and that's totally fine. This will be one of those movies that will be a lot of people's favorite Marvel movie, and that is fine. There are people that Thor Ragnarok is their favorite. There's people that Guardians of the Galaxy is their favorite. You are allowed to have a favorite, and for a lot of you, Black Panther is going to be it. But that doesn't mean that it's a perfect film, technically. And you need to kind of compensate those two things. You need to say, okay, it can be my favorite, but there's still things wrong with it. So I'm going to go with a 4 out of 5. So now we're going to dive into some spoilers for those of you that have already seen Black Panther. So I'm going to give you a spoiler warning. And here we go. So, when I'm talking about the final fight scene, it's obviously when Black Panther and Killmonger are both in the suits and they're fighting on the monorail thing. That fight scene I felt nothing for. And I don't think the gimmick of it makes the vibranium break apart on their suits is that interesting. So I just didn't really care much about that final fight, where I wish the earlier fight where they are without powers, you know, they fight supposedly to the death. That would have been an incredible way to end this movie. You know, maybe flop those two things somehow, and that would have made a little more sense. There were also some story beats that I don't quite know why were they there? So, and maybe you can explain this to me because it was late and maybe I just missed something. But why did Killmonger and Claw steal this weapon that was vibranium from the museum? Because I don't remember them using that weapon. I don't remember them needing vibranium for anything. Was it just a gimmick to get Claw to help him so that he could then kill Claw? That seems like a lot of effort to put in when he could have just killed him the first time he saw him. So I don't quite know what that entire chunk of movie was for. And that's a problem. I think the M'Baku stuff really worked. I don't know if I like that he ended up as an ally, because there's such a cool dynamic there that maybe it's setting up a division in the future. You know, for Black Panther 2 or 3, that could be cool. The actor for M'Baku was really great. In that fight scene where they fight, you know, on the waterfall was really cool too. Those were some of the best scenes, were those in the water fight to the death scenes. Those are cool. But I keep coming back to the visual effects. Another moment that it kind of failed me, that I was disappointed, was the chase through Korea, through Seoul, where they're driving and Black Panther is just spinning and flipping and like, it looks not real whatsoever. It's also really dark. And I noticed that again in a fight scene where, I think the first action scene, where he takes out the caravan of people to rescue Lupita Nyong'o's character. It's just dark. And you can't really tell, and the visual effects are not great. And it's fast cuts. And I know that director Ryan Coogler can do better action sequences, because in Creed there were some fantastic ones where he didn't cut at all. But here we're getting just bam, 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 and you're like, what is happening? And I feel like that's a disservice to what he's capable of. So the effects, just Black Panther whenever he's in the suit, does not look great. Nonetheless, when he's running up walls and flipping, and it looks like a video game, and that really bothered me. And maybe that won't bother you, and that's totally fine. Just I thought that was not great. If they can make Iron Man look realistic, if they can make a Hulk look realistic, there should be no problem with making Black Panther look like he exists in that world. And they didn't. For some reason, it didn't work. The only other spoiler thing I really want to talk about is the very last end credit scene with the Winter Soldier. That was great to see him. Him and Shuri have a really interesting dynamic, which was really cool. And he was without an arm, which means they're going to totally give him a vibranium arm for Infinity War. So that's cool. Yeah, just a great little end credit scene. Didn't give anything away really, but it was like gets you excited for what's about to happen. So I think that's it. If you have other stuff you want to talk about down in the comments, let me know. Thanks for watching our review as always. Maybe tell me, yeah, what did you like and not like about Black Panther? Where does this sit in the ranking for you? Is it one of your favorites, mid-tier, least favorites? What did you think? Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.